take the environmental, the climate, the social, worker data, and we simply use it to look at the valuation of companies and look at it over a long period of time. And so if you think about it that way, you own these companies. Everybody that owns the company, whether you're a big institutional investor or you're a small retail investor, you own the company. You have a voice, you have a vote every year.
Yeah.
Our approach is
always been the case. I mean, at least in theory.
It's really a reminder, isn't it, just how sensitive the markets are to any commentary about trade. We did see some pressure on the yuan, we did see some pressure on the futures. That is now being reversed.
Supply chain team's done a great job on semiconductors. We've been able to secure semiconductors for our entire business globally and been able to keep all of our installations globally, which we do almost 10,000 every day, somewhere in the world, all on track.
Finally, Infrastructure Week. I'm so happy to say that. Infrastructure Week. On one big item, we delivered. It is a game changer. It puts us on a path to win the economic competition of the 21st century. It's going to make it easier for companies to get goods to market and reduce supply chains, bottlenecks, ease inflationary pressures. It's going to create jobs. We'll get America off the sidelines on manufacturing. Let me be clear. We will pass this in the House, and we'll pass it in the Senate.
Infrastructure Week. I think that was just a little bit of shade at the previous administration. President Biden there taking a victory lap with the House clearing a $550 billion infrastructure bill. This as Democrats move to the broader Build Back Better agenda. Representative Josh Gottheimer signalling a vote could come as soon as next week. Joining us now from Washington is Bloomberg's Anne-Marie Jourdain. Morning, Anne-Marie.
Good morning, John. What you missed there is actually the laughter from the press pool when the president walked in and said, finally, Infrastructure Week. As you say, a little bit of shade to his predecessor who was not able to get this done. This has been long talked about in Washington, and finally it's going to the president's desk. Now, this is the hard infrastructure package, roads, bridges, broadband. But, Jonathan, that speech was coming Saturday morning because Friday evening, it was difficult to get this over the line. The president had to be personally involved, as well as Speaker Pelosi, to try to bridge once again that gap between the moderates and progressives of the party. And Josh Gottheimer, really representing the moderates, saying that by the week of November 15th, once they get the fiscal score from the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, then they will proceed with the Build Back Better agenda. But then, Jonathan, it goes to the Senate. So there's going to be a few weeks, to say the least, of negotiations regarding that larger spending package. We should note Congress out of session this week. So it's really coming up to close to the end of the year.
Anne-Marie, before you have to go, let's just go here because I think it is important. This is something the president has done that the previous administration could not do. The previous administration could not pass a bipartisan infrastructure package. Can this party get on the same script, the same message, and celebrate that win and run with it? You and I have discussed that all through this morning. It seems like Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez is struggling to do that.
Well, her, alongside 5 others, actually voted against the hard infrastructure agreement. And this is because they wanted to make sure they still had that leverage to go for the larger social spending. So this package, and my question, I brought this up to the president, this package would have never even gotten over the line.
Marcus, now this is the main story. I think we're talking about, by the way, that's good news for America, but I don't think that in the short term will have a significant impact. I think, yes, more infrastructure spending means potentially lower inflation, but that's a story for the next 5 or 10 years. I think is not about political risk. It's about, for me, more about the long-term prospect for America. But for market, I think the focus is on inflation, is on the Fed, and I don't think that in the short term, this kind of discussion will have a huge impact, to be honest. On that
standpoint as well, your perspective that we can move past the fiscal discussion.
I think the fiscal discussion and what comes out of it, of course, will have significant impact on any inflationary outlook and the